The Cuyahoga County Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 19th, 2018 will be called to order. Roll call, please.
Calling the roll, Mr. Tuma.
Yes, here.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is absent. Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Schron. Mr. Schron is absent at the moment. Ms. Baker.
Here.
There is a quorum.
All right, thank you. I think Mr. Schron might actually be walking in as we speak. So if I could have the approval, I'm sorry, is there any public comment this morning?
No, Mr. Chair, no one is signed in.
Okay. And if I could have the approval of minutes from the August 1st, 2018 meeting?
So moved.
If I have a second? I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and we'll recognize Mr. Schron has joined the meeting. We're just getting started, so. Okay, that's understandable. Okay, Madam Clerk, if we could have the first matter referred to committee.
Resolution number 2018-0181, making an award on requisition number 42986 to Terrace Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $2,812,624.93 for the Bradford Road Relief Sewer and Pump Station Elimination Project in the city of Brecksville.
Okay, and if we could, please state your name for the record.
Dave Marquardt from the Department of Public Works.
Okay, and Mr. Marquardt, what is this resolution regarding?
The project involves elimination of a sanitary sewer pump station and construction of a gravity relief sewer in Brecksville. It also includes some storm sewer and water line as part of the project. Bids were received on August 1st, 2018. There were 6 bids pulled from OPD. 3 bids were submitted for review. The diversity goal was set at 7% SBE, 17% MBE, and 6% WBE. All bids were reviewed by OPD and found compliant with the diversity goals. The Department of Public Works is recommending award to the lowest and best bidder, Terrace Construction, with a bid of $2,812,624.93. This bid is about 0.5% above the engineer's estimate of $2.8 million. Funding will be provided from sewer district user fees. The anticipated start and completion dates are October 1st of 2018 to start and complete by September 30th of 2019. Our Department of Public Works is requesting approval on second reading, suspension of rules to get the contractor moving as quick as possible before winter.
Okay, just to clarify again, so it's the elimination of a sanitary sewer, and they're constructing what again? A pump station?
No, it's we're eliminating an existing pump station and constructing a gravity sewer.
Okay, so eliminating the pump
Yeah.
station. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and again, I'm sorry, you were constructing what kind of sewer is it? I'm sorry.
It's just a gravity sanitary sewer that flows by gravity.
Oh, gravity, okay.
Rather than being pumped.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, I deal with sewers all the time, so. No, okay, I appreciate that. I understand now.
Can I ask him to
Yes,
expound on what a gravity? I think this is the first time I heard.
okay,
about
that's,
a gravity.
okay, so
sewer.
I'm not alone, see?
You're not.
Okay,
It's first time.
gravity sewer, could you,
No, just first time mentioning this kind of work in Public Works Committee.
All it means is that it flows downhill.
Okay.
There's
I don't
no
think I've
pumps
ever heard
involved.
the term
no
used
pumps
here.
involved, okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And then the start date's October 1st, 2018, completion September 30th, 2019.
Yes.
And I believe this is Mr. Schron's district?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
Does it cost less to operate a gravity versus a pump station? I can assume.
Generally speaking, it does. There were issues with this particular pump station discharge exceeding the capacity at times of the sewer it was going into. So the gravity sewer that's being constructed goes to a different part of the system that has capacity.
Okay. The pump station is being taken out of service completely then?
Yes.
And was there a lift involved in trying to move the waste? Usually a pump station is moved either for speed or for lift?
It probably didn't have a gravity outlet when they originally built it. So they pumped it up to a portion of the system
Right.
that was closest to it. This is going to eliminate that discharge location and build a gravity sewer that will discharge it down to a part of the system that has better capacity.
Okay. And that'll take into consideration the growth that's taken place in Brecksville for the demand of the people living there and things of that nature. This will be looking to the future?
Yes, it was designed to service the area. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You mentioned that the bid was a half percentage point above the estimated engineer's cost. What accounted for that?
It's just that the estimate is not a perfect estimate, so they were fairly close to their estimated costs.
Okay, and then that's reasonable.
It's reasonable, yes.
Okay, Ms. Baker?
Just a quick question on the sewer district user fees. That's what's paying for this?
Yes.
What kind of impact does the 2.8 million have on the fees that are there for these types of projects?
It's coming from existing user fees. As I understand it, they haven't, they're looking for additional funding to bring into the picture, although they haven't secured those funds yet. If they don't secure them, they can use the existing sewer district fees. If they do secure the funds, they do get external funding to help support that fee balance.
Do you understand that? I don't know if I quite understand
Yeah,
that.
right now Brecksville is working with our sewer group,
Okay.
the design group. And what they had said is they were going to try to obtain other funding. I don't know if it was in the terms of a loan, long-term loan, or whether it was a grant.
Okay.
But they haven't got it yet. So what we have to anticipate is full use of the sanitary sewer funds.
All right, and I guess my question was, what kind of impact, if they don't get the funds that they're trying to look for, what kind of impact is 2.8 million on the existing sewer district user fees? I mean, is that considerable amount coming out of that fund? How do you budget for that to know that this project is taking 2.8 million out of the fund?
Yeah, it's a combination of both the sanitary and storm funds.
Okay,
If they do have additional balances as a result of receiving external funding, it allows them to apply the existing funds to other types of projects that they have in the works.
okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Do you want, yeah, so you're saying basically that if they obtain the grant money or outside loan, they can use the storm and sanitary funds for other projects in Brecksville?
Yes, Brecksville had quite a list of storm sewer needs.
Right.
And so they've kind of stacked up the projects over time. We did make some adjustments, I believe, this year in their balances. We moved, we had an increase, I think, of $1 per foot in the storm funds, which will help them fund most of those projects that they have in the works. But if they receive external funding, as we do anywhere, it allows the fund balances to be used for other projects that are needed.
Okay. Well, I guess what Ms. Baker's question is if it wasn't answer sufficiency. So if they are unable to obtain a loan or grant monies, you'll dip into the sanitary and storm funds that would normally be allocated for other projects in Brecksville for this
Yes.
project? Is that correct?
Well, they're currently allocated for this project. If they get external funds,
Then you'll be able
it'll
to use that
release
money.
them to be used for other
Okay,
projects.
so this is allocated for that particular project?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification. Okay, and then you wanted this on second reading. Any other questions? Okay, you wanted this on second reading suspension? That's what you
Yes.
requested, correct? I'll make a motion for second reading suspension. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Schron. All those in favor for R 2018-0181 for second reading suspension, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the nay. Ayes have it, and it'll be under second reading suspension. Okay, Madam Clerk, the second resolution.
Resolution number 2018-0182, making an award on requisition number 42993 to LaCursey Garden Center, doing business as LaCursey Company, the amount not to exceed $573,620.50 for the Halley Warehouse parking lot renovation project.
Okay, and if you could please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works.
Okay, Mr. Reimer, could you just explain what this resolution entails?
I sure will, Mr. Chairman. And also, there's a visual aid that should be available for committee members also. This is an award recommendation for the improvement of parking lot 5 on that chart. You may have heard the property administrator for Public Works, Mr. John Myers, in front of you before, describing, one, the purchase of this lot in past legislation, but also the overall strategy with the remaining lease and owned lots in this vicinity. It's in the vicinity of our Jane Edna Hunter building and our Halley building, which serves a number of county agency tenants. This project will improve the now vacant lot for an 80-space parking lot, which will work in concert with lot number 6 to maximize our owned lot inventory in that area. 2 bids were received for this formal bid process. The bid for the low bidder that is recommended today to LaCursey Construction is $573,620.50, which is 1.3% below the engineer's estimate. One other bid was received, and it was in excess of 46% higher than the engineer's estimate. I'm ready to answer any of your questions.
Okay, so this is the lowest and best bidder for an improvement of an 80-space lot that the county owns?
The county owns this now,
Okay,
yes.
correct. Okay, any questions, Ms. Conwell?
To Mr. Reimer, who owns the lot? Is it the same, I remember this years ago, is it the same as who owns the Halley building? Is it the same owners?
No, this lot 5 is our owned lot now. We purchased it from the Bricklayers Union earlier this year.
Okay. And 6 we own.
6 we
is
do
the-
not own
is
yet.
the lease.
But Mr. Myers has a purchase option on that lot that you'll probably see in future legislation.
Okay, so the space in between 5 and 6, what is that? Is that PNC?
That is PNC, yes.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, Mr. Schron?
Yes, what are the garden center, I'm very familiar with this because it used to be right across the street from our plant. They're into landscaping and things of that nature. Is that what we're doing here? We're landscaping this site, or are they?
No, this will be a hardscape parking lot, Councilman, and they do have a general contractor's license as well as a sewer contractor's license
Oh, I didn't realize
as
that.
submitted in their bid package.
So they're actually gonna be asphalting and doing that that's one of their functions?
They will be. They presented 3 representative projects that we were able to follow up on technical review, one for the city of Bay Village, one for the City of Cleveland Division of Water, and one for the City of Lakewood.
And they actually have the equipment and all that?
I would anticipate, I don't know what their subcontractor paradigm is, but
Okay, I wasn't familiar with that. I was familiar with the landscaping aspects of their business very much so.
So it
Good.
won't be trees in the parking lot?
Well, I hope there are some. I mean,
There will be.
It would always be nice to have a few trees and things like that in there, because they do a great job with that. I know that we use them in our past building. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Ms. Baker and then Ms. Conwell?
The Lot 5, is that a parking lot now? Is that an existing lot?
What you see in that lot, you can see to the western edge of the lot, there is some existing parking, but predominantly no. It was the former bricklayers union that was demolished before we took ownership of the site. So it is essentially a grass lot for effective purposes right now.
Grass lot? And is there any removal of any construction that needs to be taken out of there, or?
Just the existing pavement, we'll be removing that. No existing structures, I guess, is,
Okay, I guess
your
five, over $500,000 seems like a lot to put a surface parking lot in, is that, but that's what the going bids were, and,
the engineer's estimate was higher than that, so we did receive a bid lower than the engineer's estimate, which is good. There is a underground retention that's required to
Underground
meet
retention, okay.
stormwater requirements from the district, so that is incorporated into this too.
that was not there with the brick,
Correct.
That's probably, I'm sorry.
thank you.
No, thank you, Ms. Baker. Mr. Shrine, you had a comment?
Sorry, yeah, that's probably mandatory by the city as far as water detention for hard surface runoff, I assume.
By
I
the
assume,
sanitary
too.
district, yes, Councilman.
Okay.
And is that gonna be underground or is that gonna be a detention pond on top?
Underground.
Okay.
It'll be directly underneath the lot, just to the left or west of the number 5 on that.
I'm just throwing out a concept, but if we end up picking up 6, that whole back little kind of funky looking corner there, would it make sense to at least think in terms of, could we be building one detention pond that would service both those? That would be big enough in anticipation that 6 might become a parcel rather than have to go through this, cost more to put 2 detention ponds in for 2 lots than it would be to build one size for both those lots in anticipation.
Through the chair to Councilman Schron, I don't believe that, we will confirm this, but I don't believe that would be required as it's an existing lot already.
So that we're not gonna do any kind of surface finish. We're gonna get grandfathered in on 6 is what you hope would be as far as the runoff?
With apologies, I can't answer your question, Mr. Schron, but we'll follow up on.
It seems to
on
me
those
that
questions.
before you start digging, because, these things are expensive, these underground detention ponds to put in, and I'm sure that's part of what that big number is. Because everybody's trying to control runoff. And we just had some stuff on the sewer department just a few seconds ago, and they're the ones that are the biggest pushers of that whole concept of slowing down the water runoff.
Okay.
Nicole
something to add?
English with Public Works. Just real quick, if it's already impervious area, then that's all that counts. If we add impervious area, then you'd have to add detention. So I think that lot, if it's already a hard surface that's impervious, we should be fine not having to add additional
All right,
for the future.
and we're not gonna tear it up, we're not gonna re-asphalt it, we're not gonna do anything to 6.
Yeah, even if you just improve, as long as it's impervious to start and it remains impervious, it's
Gotcha.
the same
You
condition.
get grandfathered in, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Sewer district must have Googled that one.
Huh?
They said they must have Googled that. Google Earth.
Did that-
I'm not bitter. Okay. All right. Ms. Conwell?
Through the chair to Mr. Reimer, and I may have missed it, who will use the lot?
The lot will be
Which employee?
multi-use to all of our potential tenants in the area that support the county. Certainly, the main driver in that area are the ASME employees at Jane Edner Hunter Building and the Hallie Archives, but also, we're going down this path, as you may have heard Mr. Myers, because of our expansion into the area with the archives now open at that location. Board of Elections has, election cycles that they need to support volunteers in the various parking areas. So all of our county agencies that are housed in those 2 buildings will be supported by this lot.
Okay, and the space again, I'm sorry, how many spots?
80 spaces,
80.
4
Okay.
of which will be ADA accessible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, and then, Mr. Reimer, what type of time frame are we looking as far as the start of this project goes?
If we could, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to request consideration for second reading suspension. We're trying to get a hard surface here before the snow flies.
And when do you anticipate the start date is?
We would anticipate early October.
Early October of this year? Okay. And then possible end date on that?
Early 2019, we'll see how the weather goes. There may be things like landscaping and those type of functions that are on the Chester front that may extend into the early spring.
Okay. I'll make a motion for second reading suspension. All those in favor say aye. I'm sorry, could I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, we have a second for second reading suspension on R 2018-0182. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Reimer.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you could read next resolution, please.
Resolution number 2018-0183, making an award on requisition number 43224 to Carvel Companies Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,354,515.80 for construction of future Amazon site perimeter roads in the city of Euclid.
Okay, and please state your name for the record.
Dave Marquardt from the Department of Public Works.
Okay, Mr. Marquardt, and what does this project entail?
This project involves improvement of the Amazon site perimeter roads that include Euclid, Babbitt Road, Lakeland Boulevard, St. Clair Avenue, and East 260th Street, and Bluestone Boulevard that are all within the city of Euclid. Primary purpose of the improvements was to improve access to the site, which involves traffic signalization and improvement to some of the curb radiuses and so on.
Okay, and, I'm sorry, go on.
I'm sorry, the anticipated start and completion dates are October 1st, 2018 through June 28th of 2019. The project's located in Council District 11. The bids were opened on August 23rd. There were 5 bid packages. 4 bids were submitted for review. OPD assessed a 7% SBE, 6% WBE, and a 17% MBE goal, and approved the diversity plan. Department of Public Works is recommending award to the lowest and best bidder, Carvo Companies Incorporated, in the amount of $1,354,515.80, which is 13.2% below the engineer's estimate. That was $1,560,070.99. Funding will be through Cuyahoga County 750 Vehicle License Tax Fund of $300,000, and 76% will be funded to City of Euclid funds of $1,054,515.80. We are requesting approval on second reading, suspension of rules. They do want to get started as quick as possible.
Okay. So that funding, that 300,000 will come from the motor vehicle fund?
Yes.
And then Euclid's responsible for, how much was it? 1.5?
It was $1,054,515.80.
Okay. Okay, and so this is for the Amazon site, improvement of the perimeter. I think we did this, something similar, didn't we, on another Amazon site?
Yes. The
Out in,
Warrensville.
Warrensville, yeah. Okay, and obviously we want to get moving on this. Any questions on this, Ms. Conwell?
I just want to ask, through the chair, the engineer's estimate have we ever had any problem that's 13% lower? I mean, this company has bid it 13% lower than the engineer's estimate. Does that create any problems with the finished product or anything like that?
No. An estimate, again, is just an estimated cost that's based on historic numbers. When a bidder comes in, they look at the job in detail, and then they work out the numbers that works for them to make their profit. And so
The engineer's estimate is our estimate, right?
yes.
Okay. So it was, our engineer's estimate was higher than this bid.
And what we do when we look at their bid, we look at each individual item and we compare it to our estimate.
Okay.
If we see anything that looks out of range,
Okay.
that looks unreasonable, we then look into it closer and see what impact that has. So that's what they do when they review the bids for a particular project.
Because I know when we had that strip years ago, put down Euclid, there was something later on, years later, that the company didn't use the right concrete or something. So I was just wondering if we had a mechanism to look at if it's that much, if it's anything over 5%, you know, are we really looking at what the finished product's gonna look like?
We actually look at every bid and review it for consistency with our estimate.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Mr. Schron?
Yeah, I think that my colleague was probably more looking at what is the monitoring that's going to go on during the process, is seeing how the majority of the funds are coming from the city of Euclid. What's our monitoring rights to make sure that everything is done? Because obviously they're picking up more than 3/4, it looks like, of the cost of this, or about 3/4 of the cost of this. And they're going to have superior rights, I assume, to be the monitoring function. Do they bring the same expertise that our public works would be doing in regards to the oversight?
Yeah, I might need a input from Nicole, but I believe we're doing the construction
Correct.
administration on the project.
Okay,
And we will be using our workforce and enforcing the specs.
okay, it's even better that we're using their money and our oversight.
Yeah, Nicole English with Public Works. It says the city of Euclid, but actually they're getting reimbursed by those grants. They have Ohio jobs funding and
Jobs
some
Ohio?
other, some other
Yes.
development. There's 2 different grants that they have. So our agreement is with Euclid. They have the agreements with the state to get the money back. So that's why it's stated that Euclid is paying 75%, but it's really not. They came to us to run the job because they knew they couldn't.
Yeah,
And so
okay,
they want us
that's
to run the job.
But why couldn't we also be seeking Jobs Ohio money for this? 'Cause this is a huge economic development project for the state of Ohio too, to be bringing these Amazon projects here.
We worked with them closely, when they were going for the grant awards, so we worked upfront between us and the Department of Development with them to get the awards. We traditionally in Department of Public Works don't go for those funds, our Department of Development helps them with it. So that's how the package came together, and then our expertise was that there are county roads surrounding it, so we would do the public road improvements, and we would run the construction.
And
part of
I know we're here for second reading suspension in regards to this, but this project has been known for months. Why is it coming now? Because I can only assume that the logistics of running all the trucks that Amazon's gonna have to run in and out of that space was known from the very time that site was picked.
Yeah, so as soon as actually prior to them making the announcement, we had been working on putting this package together. The city hired the designers themselves, so they were in control of the design. I mean, there was slight delays, but I mean, we did work pretty rapidly. We had to design a set of plans that we could bid. So I think, as soon as the announcement had been made, we were already working. It's just a matter of how long does it take to get the survey and get the plans done. And then we send it out for bid. We have to be out on the street for 3 weeks and a day. I mean, there's just some timelines that we have to stick to.
What's to go live on the facility? Because I was under the impression they're pretty close to going live.
No, I think spring on this one.
Okay.
So North Randall
North
is-
Randall's already going,
Yes,
yeah, it's
and
gone
we
live.
did,
Right.
we did that project and were able to get done before they were opening. So we did North Randall, that was sort of our first trial. This one is gonna follow very similar in suit.
But we will not be done with the road work by the time they go live with this facility, is that?
We should be able to be done with most of the roadway work. The only thing that's questionable is the signals, because the signal poles you have to order and take really a long time. But that doesn't matter, because there could be temporary signals up. It will be operational. It won't look, totally done with the signal poles up, but it will be operational, which is their main concern. Their main concern is, can the trucks get in and out? Can we operate? They're not as concerned with how pretty does the signal pole look at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah, well, they're
So-
concerned about the employees and getting them in there and getting their access to it too, because without them, it makes it pretty tough for them to be picking.
Yeah, North Randall worked really well. Our construction guys reported that the developer on the Amazon side worked really close with our contractor, and, they felt like it went quicker than they had anticipated.
Because we've been very actively involved in both of these sites, is it possible for Public Works at some point, committee, to get out there and see these? Because these are cornerstone projects that the county has stood behind. Is there any way to even get a walkthrough or anything like that? Because it's supposed to be an impressive facility. I'm not trying to do anything other than to see what our tax dollars are buying.
It is. We went to North Randall maybe about 3 weeks ago, had an open house.
Yeah, it was-
That we had gotten an invite. We could forward any information we get on the Euclid to you. I don't know if there's anything else they're doing in North Marion, but we could definitely ask to do
Good,
another
okay.
walkthrough. They
It was
seem
more
open.
curiosity than anything else.
Yeah, no, they seemed open. It was, I mean, there was some media there, so I don't think it's,
Yeah,
they're really keeping it a secret.
okay, sounds great, thank you.
Okay. So, second reading suspension on this,
Yes.
okay, is what you were looking for. I'll make the motion for second reading suspension.
A second?
We have a motion and a second for second reading suspension. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, if we could, Madam Clerk, the next resolution.
Resolution number 2018-0184, authorizing an agreement of cooperation with City of Independence in connection with replacement of Old Rockside Road Bridge number 00.42 over the Cuyahoga River in the City of Independence and Village of Valley View.
Okay, and your name for the record, please?
Nicole English, again with Public Works. So this is a little different than you're used to seeing projects. So normally we come to you with welfare and convenience, declare welfare and convenience on a project, and you give the county executive authority to sign our municipal agreement. This project was settled as part of a lawsuit. So the county had contended quite a few years ago that this was no longer our bridge because Rockside Road had been abandoned as a county route. The old Rockside Road moved to the new Rockside Road. This bridge is on the old Rockside Road, so it is behind where like Lock Keepers is. So we had contended it's not our bridge, and the city was going to have to repair it. It was in bad condition. When they saw the costs on it, they came back and said, we think it is the county's bridge, and essentially took us to court over it. So the court settled saying that it is ours to fix at this point in time. Luckily, in the meantime, while we were sort of squabbling over whose bridge it was, they did go to get municipal bridge funds from ODOT. So we have $2.5 million of federal money to fix the bridge, which we are not eligible for as a county, but ODOT has agreed to let it stick with the project, even though we're the project sponsor. But at the end of the construction of this project, the bridge will revert to Independence and they will own it from here forward. So what the court asked is that we rebuild them a new bridge, then gift it to them, and they will have, I mean, we're building a bridge that should last 75 years, so they're not gonna have to do anything, you know, besides some inspection and some minor maintenance in that time. The project total cost is estimated to be around 5.9 million. We have to pay for the engineering and the construction, minus the 2.5 of federal dollars. The city is running the design because they had already started with a consultant, so they scoped the project and they had a consultant selected through their council, so they will run the design with our input. We have rights to approve everything on the design side, and then we will sell the construction job though and manage the construction to be sure it's, you know, to our standards.
Yeah, hold on one second. So this is part of a lawsuit. It determined that it's the county's bridge. We're basically going to reconstruct the bridge, and after that, it reverts back to the city, and from hence on, they'll be
theirs.
responsible for it.
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Conwell?
How much did we lose in court cost?
We did it internally, so up to the point where she left, Robin Wilson was handling most of it, so I don't know as far as court costs, if there's any additional, maybe Anka can help.
I don't have the exact number. I can look at it. The prosecutor's office handled the court case.
Okay. Not at the moment.
Okay, what's the estimated start date?
They, as soon as we sign, the city did sign the agreement, we sign next. I would imagine as soon as we sign it, they will give a notice to proceed to their designer. They'll start designing. I would guess we'll sell the job maybe late next year. You would be seeing early, at this point, maybe early 2020 by the time they're done.
Okay, so it's a little bit ways off. Ms. Baker?
Thanks. Just curious, the old Rockside Road Bridge, why did they determine that it was not, or it was our bridge when we felt it wasn't? Do you
I
have-
don't know, because we still stand by that we think it's not, but
Okay.
that is what the court found. I think there wasn't an official agreement that gave them the bridge, maybe it was the final, I don't know if Anka has any more insight, but, you know, we still feel to this day that it's really not ours, but, you know, this is what the court found, so we're stuck with it.
So given, if I may, given that we're investing 5.9 million, understanding that 2.5 is coming from ODOT, is there value in selling it to the city? I mean, why is it that now that we've got this brand new great-looking bridge. Is it,
It's gonna revert.
They're not willing, yeah, they
well,
wouldn't
it's
be
not
willing to pay
reverting
anything
because it's
anymore.
ours. We're giving it to them, right? It is officially our bridge, right?
I mean, we saw that it was a value for us to give it to them at the end of the construction, because then they're responsible for inspection and maintenance on it. Going
Yeah.
forward, we're essentially done.
Right.
I don't think they would see there's any value to buy it, once
Yeah.
it's built. You know, we've paid for it, so.
Okay. The primary purpose of our funding, though, for infrastructure is bridges, right? So it probably would come back to us anyway if they needed help in,
No, because the agreement does state that going forward, it's no longer a county bridge. You know, we only spend our
Okay.
dollars on county bridges, so it shouldn't come back to us again. The agreement's pretty clean as to after we do this, what happens. The problem was there was no agreement before that was clean, and so that's how it went to the court, and they decided.
okay.
Yeah, this better not come back to us in 75 years.
We're gonna be watching,
I think we're
right?
safe.
Keep an eye on this one.
Mr. Schron?
What's the serviceability of what is on the other side of the bridge? Is there, and why was, I mean, my impression was that there wasn't a whole lot of serviceability on the other side.
There's not, I mean, there's a couple companies on the other
And
side.
they had no other access to,
So we did look at an option of where Old Rockside used to
Right.
go. It climbed the hill and
right,
connected
I know
back
exactly
up.
where it is.
So we looked at an option, whether that was feasible. The city wanted us to look at it just for maintenance of traffic, and we said, well, if we're gonna fix it up for maintenance of traffic, what if we just did it permanently? And it wasn't cost effective. Most of the old road is abandoned, the grading isn't right, there'd be retaining walls that we needed to bring it up to standards. So it really wasn't a feasible option. It cost more than replacing the bridge, so we ended up saying, okay, we'll replace the bridge. It's better for us cost-wise.
For all intents and purposes, we're creating a private bridge for those two companies that are on the other side.
That's why we argued it's not a county route anymore. It doesn't connect two towns. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't serve the purpose that county bridges should, which was our argument in court.
Right,
But
I mean, private bridges are created all the time for public, for companies that are private companies, and the public doesn't pick up the tab for those.
But because it was at one point a county route,
Yeah, I
and the
understand.
way the county route, I guess, was abandoned, didn't necessarily address the bridge in a direct way. So that's how we got caught up.
Yeah, being lawyers ourselves, you try and think of creative solutions. We couldn't have thrown money at those two companies or three companies and say, hey, we'll pay for your move or anything like that, because, boy, that's a lot of money we're throwing.
They are big industrial company. I think it's is it All Crane or I mean it's some big companies with some massive equipment
Okay.
out there. So I even this 5.9 minus the 2.5, I'm not sure that moving them even would have been a better option. You know, if you had to buy them a new spot and move
Right.
and all that. And luckily the 2.5, we were nervous that ODOT was going to say, well, you're not eligible for Muni Bridge funds. We're going to take back the 2.5. But they told us since they had committed it to the project itself, they would let it stay with the project. So that was helpful. At least we got that money still by building the bridge.
And our side didn't consider appealing the decision. I assume it's just the,
I believe they did a few times. I mean, it was lengthy.
It went all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court.
and the Ohio Supreme Court
Yes.
ruled in favor that there was a,
Yes.
oh, well,
There was a-
that's a done deal then. There's only one court higher, and they are gonna take certiorari over
And then
over
there
a
was,
bridge.
there was actually, they filed for reconsideration and the judgment stood, so
Yeah,
we
okay,
exhausted all our.
all right. We gave it the old college try, thanks.
Right, right.
As far as you can go there. Ms. Conwell has a question.
Through the chair to Nicole, do we know how many cars and equipment goes back and forth over that
We
bridge?
do probably know it, but I don't have it right here, but I can send that to you. I mean, not significant. It does serve the Cuyahoga Valley Railroad too, that, you know, at certain times that Polar Express is very popular in the winter. So there is sometimes that there's more traffic besides just those couple businesses, but, you know.
And do we have estimated cost of how much? I mean, it just seems like we're putting a lot of money in and then to give it to the city. Is there any future estimated cost of why we wouldn't keep it? I mean, you said it's gonna be good for 75 years. Why are we giving it to them?
Well, it's really just a liability on our end to keep it. You know, we'd have maintenance costs. We have to inspect it every year. There is some cost to keeping it, so we'd rather get rid of it. And the other thing is trying to set a precedence. If we keep it, then we're sort of saying we agree it's our bridge. We'd like to
Gotcha.
set it straight because there's some other ones out there that could come up.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Schrock?
We're just glad that they actually are gonna take it when it's all said and done, aren't we?
Yeah, and they could have said no to
They
that.
said no, and then we still had a maintenance
Right.
obligation.
They did agree
Because
to
the courts
take
have already
it.
told us it's our bridge.
Right.
Sadly.
Yeah, and they feel that they are doing us a favor by taking it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Lucky they didn't require a maintenance fund. I guess I should, I'll bite my tongue.
they did sign the agreement before we did, so hopefully they're not gonna go back on it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. That said, so if, what, the timeline on this is not immediate, correct? So,
Yeah, we could send
We'll
it
do second
3
reading.
readings if you want.
okay. So we'll do, send this forward for a second reading. Could I have a motion for second reading? I'm sorry, second. Okay, I have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. It'll be set for second reading on our 2018-0184. Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could read the final resolution.
Ordinance number 2018-0010, an ordinance enacting section 705.04 of the county code to establish sewer connection charges for the Cook and Columbia Phase 5 sanitary sewer project.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Dave Marquardt from the Department of Public Works.
Okay, Mr. Marquardt, what does this project entail here?
The Columbia Cook Phase 5 sewer project was initiated back around 2009, and its purpose was to eliminate pollution caused by approximately 80% of the septic systems within the project area failing. The project was initiated and managed by Olmsted Falls, but due to the fact that 33 parcels were in the township, which are in the county sewer district that are impacted by the project, it was necessary for the county to become involved as a partner in the project. Beginning just after 2009, where it was initiated, there were a series of startups and delays involved in moving the project forward. They had looked for funding. There were various issues with the design as it moved along. Throughout that time period, various communications were issued to the residents from the county and township to the township residents, informing them of the anticipated project schedule. But then the project, for various reasons, would be delayed. We held a public meeting back in April of this year, and at that public meeting, it was to talk about the status of the project and the project moving forward. The trustees and the residents both requested that the rates that had our sewer connection fees that increase each year be held or rolled back because of the way the project unfolded. So their request was really based on the hardship and uncertainty that was created by the various project delays and having to deal with maintaining their failing septic systems. So they didn't know, they would think, okay, I'll keep it running. Project's coming along, then the project would stop, and it would stop for a lengthy period, and then get reinitiated again and move forward. So to correct that confusion and ensure fairness to the 33 parcels that are within the township area, the trustees had requested that we freeze the sewer rates. When I went back and looked through all the documentation and things that took place, it appeared as though in around 2015, they were giving a fairly strong notice that the project was moving forward at that point in time. So we decided that 2015 would be the appropriate time period to freeze the rates. People thought it was coming then. We actually had a couple people who purchased permits, which included paying the connection fees back then. And we have held those fees at their request until the sewer gets built. So We had determined and then discussed it with the township, and we all felt that 2015 seemed like the reasonable rollback date. So the legislation is based on holding those 2015 amounts, and they will be held from the time that this is approved through March 31st of 2019. So in that time period, the sewers are out there being planned. They bid 2 phases already. They're continuing with their bidding process and constructing the sewers. But in the meantime, these people will have the opportunity to purchase their connection fees and permit up to that March 31st date at the 2015 rate. If they choose not to do that and they wait beyond that date, then they'll go back to the current sewer rates. So this legislation is requesting to freeze that rate.
Okay. And has notice been sent out to all the residents affected, all the parcels affected?
They're all aware that the project is coming. And this time, it is a firm, yes, it's coming, because they bid 2 of the phases already, and the bids have come in reasonable, so they know they'll be moving forward.
Right. I mean, one of my concerns is I've seen in Parma over the years is people say, I didn't know, I didn't have, even though they're going to meetings or being told by their, council people or trustees. So is there, I mean, it would not take much, I think, to just send a letter to each parcel saying, this is what
Yes.
is going on, so you have to make sure that you are locked into this. Do you have to kind of opt into this? Is that what that's what I'm asking? Or are you automatically?
Nobody has been informed yet of this freeze.
Okay,
They've requested it,
okay,
and they requested it in the public meeting. As soon as it becomes formal, we'll go ahead and send a communication
okay,
out.
that's what I'm getting at. If in the
Yes.
event we move forward with this, and then is this a recommendation by the Public Works Department to go
Yes, it
along with
is.
this? Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Seems like you guys have been on top of this situation for a number of years and trying to make the best situation out of a difficult one for some folks. So I obviously, if there's trying to freeze to the 2015 rates, and this is good through 2019, we'd probably want to get on this sooner rather than later than waiting on this, so.
Yes, as soon as we have the approved legislation,
Yeah.
we will send the communications out to the public.
Okay, so on this, are you looking for second reading suspension so we can move this through and get this?
It would be helpful to do it as quick as possible.
Okay. Okay, I'll make a motion for second reading suspension on this. I don't want any issues with any of those folks out there. So we have a motion for second reading suspension and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And thank you, Mr. Marquardt. Madam Clerk, is there anything else before the committee? Any miscellaneous business from my colleagues? Okay, seeing none. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. And, well, I guess we'll excuse Councilman Miller on safari here, so you don't hear that much. So a motion to excuse Councilman Miller in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And then a motion to adjourn. And we have a second. All those in favor say aye. And a motion to adjourn. That's that.